Hey everyone, welcome back. So I'm seeing a whole bunch of fall content popping up lately, so I thought it was time for another anti-haul. And as always, this is not to shit on anybody who is enjoying these trends, who's wearing them, who is planning on bringing those items into their wardrobe. A lot of these trends I actually really like, but the whole reason I like to do these anti-hauls and sort of assess what I am consciously not going to buy is because I simply don't want to go broke in the name of fashion anymore. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, then you know that I was very brand focused, fashion focused for years, and that obsession ate away at my finances and my mental health because I was just buried in stuff and buried in a whole pile of debt with pretty much nothing to show for it, except a closet full of clothes with tags still on, of course. So I like to do these types of videos, these anti-hauls, to kind of review what's in style, see maybe how I could incorporate these trends into my wardrobe using what I have already, or sort of use it as like a self-reflection opportunity. If you know yourself and your personal style enough to say no to these things, then I think that's a really powerful thing. You know what you like, and you don't necessarily need to feed into these fashion trends in order to feel relevant and feel stylish. So there's about 6 or 7 trends that I've noticed for this season, and I'm gonna go over why I am not buying into them. So the first trend that I'm not gonna buy are vests. We already know how I feel about the sweater vest that's been on trend for the past couple of years.
Behold the soothing power of this enchanted sweater vest! Behold it!
And sweater vests are still in style, but this season I'm seeing a whole lot more of the sort of button-up, 3-piece suit, Annie Hall, Diane Keaton inspired vest. But here's the thing about the vest. I kind of been there, done that. But ultimately, I think the way it is being worn and styled these days, I think it is quite a classic and elevated look, but it's something that I just don't think I will actually wear in my wardrobe. I don't think I need it, and it's something that I don't really want to spend the money on. But if you do want to go for any of these trends, I think going for them secondhand, thrifting around, finding pieces from the 90s and now the early 2000s, which are apparently vintage. That makes me feel a certain way. These are items that you can easily incorporate by thrifting and by incorporating them secondhand, which I think is always a little more economical and more sustainable than shopping for it new at these sort of trend chasing stores. The vest thing, I don't really need to go there. And especially with that fedora, like, who do I think I am?
I really like the vest.
I gathered, yeah.
The next trend I'm seeing a whole lot of are platform loafers. I think in general, this whole like preppy kind of schoolgirl slash clueless slash Annie Hall type of style is really coming back into fashion, which I actually really love. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks very classic, but with a modern edge in many ways, especially with these platform loafers. But for me, the platform loafer in particular just doesn't feel timeless. I know the silhouette and the shape and style of a loafer in itself, I think that will never go out of style. I think that's quite classic, but turning it into a platform, I do think it makes it a little more youthful and a little more trendy, but definitely I think really kind of dates it and makes it a little less classic. Like, I just don't think that this is something that people are going to be wearing like 2 or 3 years from now. I mean, I could be wrong. It's not something that I feel compelled to add to my wardrobe, and functionally it just wouldn't really work for me in my lifestyle. The third trend that's been around actually for a couple of years now are oversized leather blazers. I think last year the leather and pleather trend was pretty hot, and it was really spilling over into a more matrix and like blade type of territory where people were wearing like really long pleather trench coats, leather pants. And this year I really find that I'm seeing more and more of the leather blazer, very reminiscent of the 90s and early 2000 Vampire Slayer vibe. I think the leather blazer in particular is something that I have really been interested in, but it's something that I ultimately have never really pulled the trigger on because I personally just know myself, and I don't think I would get a lot of wear or rotation out of that piece in particular. I think it's just chasing that shape and silhouette and that style for the sake of it because Y2K is kind of back. The next thing I am seeing quite a lot of are over-the-knee boots. I love them. I think they look amazing. I think it is very 70s inspired. I think it is very 90s. I think it's very 2000s. It is a knee-high boot is quite classic, I will be honest. I mean, now I'm really just waiting for my teens and early 20s to come right back around full circle and waiting for riding boots to come back in style. I think there's nothing wrong with this trend. I think it is quite classic, quite timeless, and if you did hold on to any of your knee-high boots, you can probably pull them back out and look quite on trend and up to date for this era. Like, ultimately, I like what a lot of these trends look like. I don't feel like my wardrobe is behind or incomplete without these things, because I have really discovered what it is that works for me. And I find I personally really like to lean towards these timeless, sounds really cliche, but like I really do see a lot of value in a timeless basic that you can wear season to season, year to year, and you couldn't sort of define that to be the year 2021 or the year 2015 or 2009. And I want to be able to sort of look back at a photo and be like, oh, I don't really know what year that was, like, unless like, you know, my wrinkles are showing it or something. Whereas I can look back in photos from 2009 and know exactly what era that was because of the vests and the fedoras and the big belts and the layered tank tops that go past my butt. So I think a lot of these trends that are mentioned in today's video sort of do have that air about them. Like, you kind of know that, oh, this is circa, you know, 2019 to 2021, because that's what was really on trend at the time. The next thing I'm not going to be spending any money on is zip up fleece. I'm seeing like a lot of like half sweaters with a zip up or full on fleece sweaters, jackets. If you're from Canada, I don't know if you ever knew the brand like Northern Getaway. So that's sort of like outdoorsy, chic, Patagonia kind of camper style, maybe more leaning on the Y2K, and this year I'm seeing a lot of like fuzzy fleeces in the half zip and stuff like that. It is definitely not something I would ever put money into buying new. Like, I'm seeing a ton of it at Aritzia and all these other sort of on-trend, trend-setting stores. If you want to go this route, there's definitely a ton of things that you can find at the thrift store, at Goodwill, at Value Village, all those places. Spending like $120 on like a polyester fleece pullover just because it's in like a cute color, I don't know, that's just not money well spent for me. The next style that I'm seeing quite a lot of are these quilted jackets, trenches, vests, long line kind of coats. I don't think it's necessarily too trendy in any way. I think it's a nice alternative to like a puffer style and offers like a different cut and maybe like thickness when it comes to some of your layering pieces. It's just something that I don't know. I don't think I need it. I don't really want it. There's nothing, it doesn't really do much for me in terms of making me feel enticed to wear it. So that's something that I'm just gonna leave aside. Trend number 7 is, wow, pretty trendy. I never thought that these things would kind of come back, but it's fur-lined anything. I'm talking those like cardigans with the fur collars, cardigans and sweaters with like the fur-lined fuzzy sleeve cuffs. And in some scenarios, it does feel almost like costumey to me. Like, that's how trendy it feels. So it's just something that, yeah, not for me. And the final trend and sort of look and silhouette in general that I've decided really not to participate in or spend any money on is this whole idea of like, I'm calling it like the Clueless-core look. You have like cottagecore and dark academia, and you have all these sort of aesthetics. This aesthetic really reminds me of Alicia Silverstone, 1990s Clueless. So it's a lot of pleated mini skirts, a lot of plaid, and then pair all that together with the fuzzy cardigans, the platform loafers, the high socks, and it turns into this very Clueless inspired preppy but Y2K kind of look. So when you put all these pieces together in that sort of Clueless-core way, did I make up a word? I hope I did. That's kind of cool. Then I think it makes it look like you're very intentionally trying to be on trend. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, truly, to be honest, but At the same time, trends move so fast and they encourage so much consumption and I think confusion in personal style. Like for me personally, when I was chasing trends from season to season, it made me really confused about my personal style, about my personal tastes, and I wasted a whole lot of money and ultimately created even more waste from decluttering these things. Like my old vests from 2009, I don't even know what happened to them. They probably went into the garbage and into the landfill just because they were like throwaway items to me. It was trendy at the time. I bought it, I indulged in it, I wore it a little bit, and then I moved on to the next thing. And so when we chase trends relentlessly and really try with a lot of effort to look on trend by adding new pieces to our wardrobe without a lot of thought and consideration and without a lot of planning in terms of how that item is going to be in our wardrobe and how we can style it for years to come, I think that's when trends kind of do more harm than good. Don't get me wrong, I love fashion and I think it's totally cool to want to be on trend and stay on top of what those things are. But I still think that we should entertain some thought as to how we can make those trends that we might want to indulge in last as long as we possibly can, and kind of therefore make them not really a trend anymore. But I mean, yeah, Cher Horowitz is a style icon. Absolutely love her. Love Clueless. Love all that. But for me, it's just something that I'm not going to spend money on. So that's it for this season's Fall Anti-Haul 2021. Let me know if there's some trends that you're seeing that you're thinking about checking out, or some trends that you've seen that you're like, absolutely no thanks, see you later. Leave this video a thumbs up if you liked it. It really does help out my channel a lot. It means so much to me if you do. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. See you in the next one, guys. Bye.